Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200-plus signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel. Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200-plus signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. Bashi, I do apologize. I completely forgot to like and subscribe. I do really apologize, and I just went and liked and subscribed the stream. I was locked into my breakfast, but yeah, completely forgot about that, to be honest. To be fair, I do forget to say it sometimes in my stream as well, so it's a part of my YouTubingness I need to work on. But yeah, I do apologize. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another stream. As always, hope everyone is doing well. A bunch of things to go through today, and if you do have any requests, any pairs you're looking at, feel free to let us know in the chat. If you are interested to check out those AI power signals, I'll leave the link to our community Telegram for Zentrix in the chat, so you can check out the community Telegram. There's more information regarding the project and what's to come. If you head over to the pin messages, go to the bottom of the pin messages, you'll be able to see the link to the AI powered signal service. So if you're interested, go check it out. It is, and there's a lot of detail there, a lot of information. And if you're looking for different ideas, you can find some quality opportunities there as well. So check it out if you are interested. But good morning, everybody. What's up? Dimar, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I appreciate it. Basher, yeah, like and subscribe. It does really help out. Of course, I'm getting used to that now, but like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And of course, feel free to ask any questions, and I'll be sure to answer them. What's up, Coffee Spinner? Welcome to the stream. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate the love, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really do appreciate that. It makes a very similar like highly powerful. Yeah, I mean, likes do go a long way. Likes do go a long way. Need to make sure I do more of them. But yeah, guys, we'll go through a bunch of markets. I'll start with the USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY, USD majors. You should be sleeping, actually. What are you on about? Thought you were going to have a nap. But yeah, we'll go through USD majors, gold and silver, DXY, and then we'll go through some requests. I'll also go through the platform we've been working on under Zentrix Perps Trading Platform. Very excited to share that with you guys and where that can go in the future. So we'll go through that briefly. But first things first, let's take a look at the DXY, because I've been pretty bullish on the dollar, but we did not see that happen at all yesterday. Price was very, very weak. Actually, let me look at the other capital.com. Yeah, price was very weak after CPI, and that did not go to plan. Price was very, very weak. We broke to the downside pretty aggressively, and we're also clearing support here. Now, technically speaking, the market could still potentially see a higher low and could still see some upside. We are coming back into this kind of area of demand where we did see the drive higher happen, and potentially we could still see a bounce, but I'll believe it when I see it, sort of thing. I need to see some characteristics that show us that, okay, the buyers are stepping back into the market, potentially a higher low could be forming, and we could see price potentially start to rally. At the moment, of course, we're looking pretty bearish, but we are at an area which things can turn around. There's a bit of a descending channel going on right now, and if you can see some heavy rejection around these lows, potentially could turn around. So I'm not dismissing my bullish bias just yet with the DXY, because technically speaking, nothing has been invalidated. I was expecting a price to rally from here onwards. That wasn't the case. As we can see, price is coming a little bit deeper. So we're going to see what price does at this area. I'm still going to be looking for buys. I'm not quite interested in the sells. I think intraday there might be some nice selling opportunities. But from a swing bias, I'm still very much looking for a higher low for perhaps another swing back to highs. But yeah, I need to see some evidence of that happening. At the moment, dollar's looking pretty bearish. Momentum's looking pretty bearish at the moment as well. So I'm going to need to see some rejection, really aggressive bullish momentum as well, and some evidence that a higher low is about to form. At the moment, not quite there yet. Same situation with Euro USD as well. That's looking pretty bullish as well. This is actually finally testing the area which I wanted price to test last week and this week as well, which is this consolidation. Lovely consolidation. Spent a few hours there. Eventually had a really aggressive drop, and now price is back at that zone as well. So I quite like what I'm seeing here for Euro. Again, if we are going to form a lower high, this is the place to do it. So I'm looking closely to see how we do develop at this area. But of course, at the moment, price is really bullish. So I'm kind of backing away for now. If I can see some really aggressive reactions, bearish momentum kicking in, this could easily be a double top for us to sell off. But of course, as I've been saying, nothing of that nature just yet. So again, big part of trading is just being reactive to what the market's giving you. Sometimes we're looking bullish, and then a blink of an eye, things are looking bearish again. So keeping a close eye at this area, 1.17, and that's kind of where I'm looking to base some shorting opportunities from. If we do stay bullish, and especially if we do take up the high here, then of course, at that point, the bearish structure completely invalidated, and that higher time frame bullish trend looks like it's just back in full flow. Perhaps this was just a big correction for us to then continue higher. That could be the case there with Euro USD. So paying close attention to that area, and if things do develop well, I will look for shorts, but at the moment, not quite there yet. Pound USD is not looking good, I must admit. Pound USD is not looking good. I've been keeping an eye on pound, but the trend line I was keeping an eye on has not been respected whatsoever. Price broke through that, and that's basically what I was mentioning yesterday. If we did see convincing momentum above this trend line, yeah, that's where I kind of put to one side the shorting ideas. At that point, things are looking very bullish. I do think price is probably gonna take out that high, and if we do that, that's a complete break of structure. This will look like a big V-shaped pattern, impulse down, impulse back up again. At that point, you're looking at a correction and a continuation. So with pound USD doing that, you could probably expect to see a pushback to highs just above 1.375 or almost around 1.38. And of course, at that point, that would probably mean that USD is quite bearish. And of course, pound still quite strong for now as well. So yeah, pound USD, I'm actually backing away from the shorts. Not liking how price is set up at all. Looks like a big V-shaped pattern at this point. I do think we can see some more upside. So pound USD off the table for some shorts, and along with it, Aussie dollar, but we'll go take a look at dollar CAD first. Dollar CAD at the time yesterday as well, we're showing some nice momentum. This one hasn't completely fallen flat in its face just yet. I think this CAD is quite weak at the moment, so you've got a weak dollar versus a weak CAD, so they're kind of battling out right now. But again, we've had a lot of noise around this area, a very key level of support and resistance, which last week I was looking to see if we can respect the support and potentially rally from. That wasn't the case. Price did break below, and then we broke above, so it's kind of a little bit awkward right now. Possibly we might still find support here and possibly still rally. I need to see some convincing momentum before I do take some longs there. And especially looking at what the DXY is doing, I don't have a lot of faith at this moment in time. So the dollar really needs to turn around if I'm going to start backing some longs again. At this moment in time, I'm being very cautious with the idea of buying any of the USD pairs or buying dollar, I should say, because buying Aussie dollar is a different situation. But yeah, dollar CAD, we are trading at support. We could see some upside from here, but looking at what the USD is doing, I'm not quite convinced unless we see some really aggressive bullish momentum. I'll be quite cautious with buying dollar CAD, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we do break lower and find ourselves back inside this range again. And this might just be a big fake out. So we'll wait and see if we can get the break back inside the range. But as of right now, nothing's quite decided yet. Don't really have much of an opportunity to discuss with dollar CAD for now. Aussie dollar with this one, it looks like we're back being bullish again. Really strong momentum. And the whole idea for Aussie dollar was price breaking out of this channel and expecting more downside. Looks to me that price is breaking back within the channel here. So that is absolutely not what I want to see as a bear. So price doing this is, again, a very bullish signal. Again, I'm not necessarily looking to buy the pair, but as of right now, I'm definitely not looking to sell it. So if this does continue, perhaps we do see price start to find its way back at highs again, and perhaps price does continue. Of course, USD being weak is pretty much the governing force here. So that's why a lot of my concentration has been on the DXY, because it kind of dictates the play for the rest of the USD pairs. And with the dollar looking as bearish as right now, Aussie dollar is probably going to continue higher. So at that point, I'm going to have to be very cautious with the shorts, and because we're breaking inside the channel, I'm not looking to take any. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same situation here as well. A very slight ascending channel, which price looks as if we're breaking back within. And if that's the case, the shorts are not valid anymore. I mean, I was never really a fan of New Zealand dollar because it was quite corrective, but we did manage to break out. But it looks to me that this breakout is not being sustained, and perhaps we're getting ready for a bit of a rally there as well. So the shorts not valid anymore. I'll wait for that daily candle to close just to confirm things, but it looks as if the shorts are not valid, especially with what's going on with the DXY. Gold, on the other hand, is looking somewhat bullish. Of course, you've got USD being pretty weak, so that's going to help out USD to the upside. So we are seeing some strength on the lower time frames. Nothing crazy. We were pretty bearish past couple days, a bit sideways, and now we're looking a tad bullish. As I've been saying with gold, I'm not really interested in price action until we're at the highs or at the lows of this range, and then yeah, from there I can talk about some opportunities, looking to buy low, and sell high. At the moment, we're just in the middle. We're literally in the middle of this range, so that's kind of the worst place to get involved, in my opinion, anyway. So I wouldn't really do anything here with gold. I know we're looking somewhat bullish. There might be some nice intraday buys. And again, I'm not saying there's not any opportunities here. I'm just saying from a swing perspective, this is not where you want to position yourself. If you're intraday, I'm sure you'll be able to find some short-term opportunities within the choppiness of gold here. But if you're looking from like a 4-hour perspective, not the best place to try and take a trade and sit in one as well. So keeping an eye on the high, keep an eye on the low, and wait and see if price can get to either of those areas, and hopefully some opportunities can present. And lastly, silver. Silver's looking quite bullish as well. This looks to me that we've had the big V-shaped pattern. This is our correction, and now we're seeing the continuation. So perhaps silver's going to make its way back to highs at 39.4. So yeah, looking pretty bullish there for silver, and perhaps we can see a lot more upside beyond that as well. And of course, USD being weak, that should play a big role. So yeah, USD looks pretty weak, and I'm gonna have to be cautious with the bullish bias I've had with that one. I'm kind of backing away. I did exit my USD CHF long position, roughly about 0.6 minus 0.6R. I entered here, had some stops around here, but I exited yesterday after CPI around there, which was like 0.6R-ish. I was going to be quite aggressive in terms of the management because I was going quite counter trend, and I said that if momentum does pick up against me, I'll be very quick to exit the trade. And momentum did pick up against me, wasn't really showing signs of continuation, so I was out the trade, which was the right decision in the end because, of course, would have took the full loss. But yeah, momentum didn't really continue, and for that reason, I was like, okay, I'm out of this position, especially seeing what happens with the DXY and knowing that, okay, the overall trend is still very much to the downside. So unless that bullish momentum picks up quickly, I'm kind of backing away. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the dollar, keeping a close eye at this area, but nothing convincing just yet. I say like and don't subscribe. 50% people leave. Yeah, true. News was very mixed. We saw Fed to go into the 90s for September cut, apparently 2-3 cuts. Yeah, expecting more bearishness in the DXY, yeah. I wanted the Euro longs and G longs, but it didn't just let me get in, yeah. Bear in mind, GDP didn't really cut. That's true as well. That's true. And of course, pound is quite bullish at the moment as well. Excuse me. Coffee spinner, what's up? Yep, Aussie CAD, we can take a look. DJ Gaming, what is up? Hope you're well. Good afternoon. Still morning over here, but good afternoon to you. What about the M pairs? Yes, we can discuss the M pairs as well, no problem. CS Integrated, good morning. Hope you're well. What do you think of dollar CHF? I'm going to close my position at 0.81. If it hits stop loss 0.8, one loss for another win. Another day. Of course, yeah, I mean, I ended up closing my position early yesterday on dollar CHF after momentum wasn't really momentuming. Wasn't seeing that continuation for the buyers. I hopped in here with the expectation that, okay, now we've got the breakout. Now momentum is likely to continue to the upside, but we didn't really see that initially. Yes, a little bit. Then we were kind of slowly picking up bearish momentum, but it was very, very small and wasn't really significant. So I was happy to stay in the trade there. And of course, the news came in, and then this kind of ended up closing against me. So I was like, okay, momentum's not present anymore, or the momentum I was banking on wasn't really present anymore. So I decided to close the trade early, and I said, okay, if momentum does decide to pick up later, I don't mind finding some re-entries later down the road. But yeah, momentum picked up really aggressively. Now we're coming back at these lows here. So potentially dollar could still be strong. It's just not looking likely at this moment in time. I mean, we are coming back into some lows here where potentially price might react. But that's the thing. We might react to see some upside, but do I expect this to happen? Probably not anymore. I was expecting it early in the week and last week, but after what we've seen now with the news, I don't think this move is likely to happen anymore. So I'm not going to necessarily bank on that. I think this is still a place where we could bounce, but do I expect to push maybe back to 0.82? Again, anything can happen in the FX market. I don't want to say no, it won't happen because I don't know. But I was pretty confident last week coming into this week that we could see that continuation. Now I'm not very confident we'll see that. So we might see a reaction here. It might take us back to the high of the range because essentially we're kind of choppy now. But I think we'll probably end up coming back down. Maybe we end up breaking support as well. I'm looking at the DXY. I'm not seeing much hope there, to be honest. And we are coming into this area where potentially we could turn around. So there is some hope there, but I'm not quite convinced really. I like the breakout we had yesterday, and I thought from there we could see some upside. But of course, the news had other ideas there. So yeah, dollar CHF, we are approaching support. I do think we can see a bit of a reaction from here. It is a strong level of support. And considering if we can see some healthy rejections, sure, I do think we can bounce. But the bias I once had for that big bullish move there, not looking good as it was beforehand. So I'm personally taking a back seat with dollar CHF for now. Yeah. And of course, considering that the higher time frame trend is still pretty bearish as well, I'm kind of being quite cautious. If this was pro trend, then I can be a little bit more aggressive with the buys. But because the market is still pretty bearish, we've only seen a little bit of upside. So let's not get too carried away with that. So because of that, I'm being quite cautious and seeing what USD has done right now. I'm not quite convinced that we do push through. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USDC ETF. I'm going to go through our platform, our perps trading platform for Zentrix. We're going to go through that, take a quick look at the platform, see what there is to offer, especially anyone who is interested in trading perps. Definitely check it out. I'll go through that quickly. Then we'll probably go through some requests, Aussie CAD, some yen pairs we can take a look at as well. Yeah, very quick 180. That was a huge aggressive move. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, pound's been looking very strong. No, I don't have the edge finder, Bashi. No problem. Season graded. Happy to help. So yeah, quickly we're gonna go through our perps trading platform. This is a platform which we've been working on for the past few months, and I don't want to remove my screen there because my mic disappears. But yeah, it's a platform which you can just plug in your Solana or Ethereum wallet straight into the platform and begin trading straight away. The beauty of it is that you can withdraw your profits pretty much instantly. Settlements are done instantly, so it's not like with the bigger brokers where you have to kind of request payouts, request withdrawals, and wait 48 hours or even longer for that to happen. This you can just trade and withdraw pretty much instantly. So you can connect your wallets, any Solana or Ethereum wallets, any wallets here you can connect with. If you don't have a wallet, you can connect via email as well. So you can log in with an email address and begin trading straight away. We do have demo testnet where you can look to request USDC test currency just to trade with and play with the platform. So if you're interested in just getting a feel with it, you can request test USDC, just trade from there. If you want to trade straight away live, you can do that. At the moment, only cryptocurrencies can be traded on the platform, but we are going to get FX and other indices and other markets as well on the platform as well. So a lot more coming in that department. And the beauty of it is that we're trying to incorporate AI and trying to really tap into that side of things, because we do have my very own Miko AI here, funny enough, which you can get analysis in terms of support and resistance levels, the sentiment of the market, the overview of the market as well. And that can kind of help potentially tap into, if you're looking to speed up things, if you're looking to analyze on the go, you can get support and resistance levels where you can look to decipher them, go through them in your own time and see that, okay, maybe this support level is something I want to work with, or this resistance level is something I want to work with. We can go for a quick kind of demo of that right now. It takes about 30 seconds to a minute to analyze. At the moment, you can only do the bigger currencies, cryptocurrencies like BTC, Ethereum, Doge. The smaller cryptocurrencies, we don't have much data on them at the moment, so the analysis doesn't have enough data to do the analysis. But the bigger ones, BTC, Ethereum, Doge, XRP, will have data, so you can do analysis for those. That's an exciting part of the project. Again, with Zentrix, the main focus is AI and developing AI tools as well. And one of the features is analysis done by AI as well. So this is the report prices just came up with. There's a quick summary, risk assessment, 24-hour prediction as well, which is quite handy. And then you've got some support levels and resistance levels to work with. And here's a kind of a setup as well. So again, there's nothing that you have to take exclusively. It can generate ideas for you. So something to really look into. So if you're interested, give it a check it out. I'll share the link to the platform. It's just basically dx.zentrix. You can check that out. And yeah, have a little play with it. You can test it out in the demo server. And of course, if you're going to go live, you can do that straight away as well. But yeah, really something that we're working on with and really excited about. Yeah, you can't send links in the chat. There used to be a thing where you could send links because people, it's probably about a couple of years ago now, maybe. But people could actually send screenshots of their trading view chart, and I was able to kind of bring it up into the chat and discuss things. But YouTube removed that feature maybe a couple of years back now. What's up, Yusuf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Okay, so let's go through Aussie CAD, and I'll go through some of the yen pairs. Of course, any pairs you guys are looking at, drop it in the chat. Yeah, I only have, I think it's only me that can send links in the chat. Which is, yeah. I mean, I understand why, but yeah, it was handy. People could share charts and stuff. But Aussie CAD, who requested this one? Coffee Spinner. Let me know what you're eyeing up for this pair, because it's a very, very choppy pair. I'm not really seeing much on it. We are looking quite bullish. I think Aussie is a little bit strong, but more so CAD's actually very weak at the moment right now. But you can see we're approaching resistance here. We're approaching resistance. Now, of course, price can do one or two things here. Either respect it or break through. Now, with Aussie CAD, we've had a hell of a move down, really aggressive move down, and prices recovered that pretty well. And I do think within due time, price will probably end up back at the highs here. And then we'll go from there. But I do think price is likely to break through resistance at some point. Now, I'm not necessarily saying price is going to break now. We could very much come back down again and dilly-dally before we do get that breakout. But I do expect to see price eventually move back to the highs here. We've had a really aggressive turn, really aggressive drop there. And the fact we hadn't really seen much continuation of that tells me that we're more likely to break higher than suddenly keep falling. So I do expect us to break through this. In terms of opportunities, in terms of buying this, that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because all of this is resistance, and I'd probably wait for a convincing break above maybe 0.903 before saying, okay, we've broken out, let's find some pullbacks, and perhaps let's find some continuations on a retest. Possibly there could be something like this. That's a very rough trend line, I must say, where we try and catch the next high or low. I think that's probably a more difficult trade. Something like this is a little bit more easier to spot. So yeah, Aussie CAD, I would be quite bullish. I do think more upside is on the way. I would, of course, wait for a strong breakout of this, perhaps even a daily candle closure of this level. And then hopefully some pullbacks and a retest to take some buy opportunities, and we can target the high around 0.911 afterwards. So Aussie CAD, I'm leaning towards the bullish side of things here for a breakout higher. But yeah, I would wait for the breakout before doing anything. In the moment, there could actually be some shorts. If we do see some healthy rejection, there could be some short opportunities in the meantime, but I do think the bigger move is likely to the upside. So that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie CAD. Keep an eye on that resistance. There could be some shorts in the meantime, but should we see a breakout, the buys do look very good back into 0.911. So yeah, hopefully that made sense on Aussie CAD. Yeah, hosts and mods, yeah. Okay, eyeing the breakout. Okay, makes sense because retail traders are heavily short and most end up on the wrong side. True, that is true. Actually, the funny thing about that is actually it's not as one-sided as you think, because a lot of people think that basically just go against retail traders and you mostly win your trades. It's actually not the case. It's actually a little bit close. It's actually like 55% of the time retail traders are wrong. 45% of the time they're actually right in terms of the crowd. So it's not as one-sided as you think. Because if it was very one-sided, like 70%, 80% of the time they're wrong, then it literally just would be just go against the crowd and you'll be able to make money pretty quickly. So it's actually not the case, funny enough. But yeah, it is true on average. the crowd is on the wrong side of the direction, but it's only like 55% of the time, so it's not as one-sided as you think. Yusuf, yes, USD was chaotic. Yeah, please can you go over the DXY and the 15 and the 4 hour? Okay, no problem. I'll go through some yen pairs quickly, and then I'll take a look at the DXY on those respective timeframes. Okay, so we'll go through a couple yen pairs. We'll take a look at pound yen, and then we'll go through CAD yen. I'll go through some more yen. Actually, no, we'll go through dollar yen, and then we'll go through some more yen pairs later in the stream. But with pound yen, things have looked very bullish recently. Of course, we've had this very, very aggressive move higher. I was expecting a lower high to form, but we didn't see much rejection coming into this area. And since the break of that, this is especially, I remember this especially because this is when the pound interest rates happened, and we had that very aggressive reaction after that. And of course, price has been pretty bullish since then. So now price is coming into resistance. What's the play now? Well, on the higher time frame, I think it's quite simple actually. It's basically if price can break through resistance here, well, I expect us to get to the next level, which would be this high. So it's pretty much breakout next level sort of situation. So very, very simple stuff, and the plan will just be looking to find pullbacks along the way. Nothing more complex than that. If we do respect the level, of course, there could be some shorting opportunities. I'm not quite convinced that will be the play. Sure, I do think price might react with the level and see some downside off that level, because we might not necessarily get the breakout now. We might push down first and then break out maybe next week or even the week after. So that could be the reality of things, but I don't expect a big sell-off, because if price did really want to turn around and start being bearish, I would have expected this bearish leg to continue. I would expect the pullback and a continuation and maybe some type of bearish trend off the basis of that move. But that wasn't the case. Price had a really aggressive move, and all that momentum turned on the dime, and now we're attacking resistance again. So yes, I do think we can see some downside, but I do expect that to be the bigger move, and I do expect that to happen in the next few days. So I'm pretty bullish on pound yen, but until we get the breakout, I'm not really looking to do too much with this pair, to be honest. Like I said, I'm not really interested in the shorts. So if I'm going to be waiting for the buys, well, the most important thing needs to happen, which is the breakout, and then hopefully we can discuss some buying opportunities, maybe a retest of the high or a pullback maybe later on. But the plan will be, once we clear resistance here, the bias is a push back to 206, 207, which is a pretty long way away, roughly 700, 800 pips there. So we've got a long way to go, a lot of opportunity there to the upside. So pound yen, I'm pretty bullish on. Dollar yen is looking pretty bearish. Of course, USD is pretty weak right now. So we've actually got a big contradiction between dollar yen's price action and pound yen's price action. Mainly because pound is a lot stronger than USD at the moment. All you have to do is take a look at pound USD. But yeah, dollar yen looks pretty bearish. Now, I'm still pretty bullish on dollar yen. I was talking a lot about these two areas for some buys coming into the week, that is. So this area being one and this area being number two. I like the buys from here. We didn't quite see that happen. So I'm kind of looking to see if this is going to give us that move into that area for some buys later on, or of course, potentially this area as well for some buys later on. Now, if I do zoom out to the daily chart, what I do see is a very slow, grindy uptrend, and I'm simply just looking for that to continue at these areas. So trying to buy low, trying to potentially catch the next higher low, and hopefully swing it back to highs, and then we'll go from there. Now, this is a very corrective trend, so I don't expect this to continue forever. I do think at some stage we were going to top out, form a lower high, and have a pretty big reversal. As I expand to the weekly chart, you can see the reason why. We've got one high over there, another lower high. I do think price in the long term is probably going to form another lower high, and we're probably going to see a pretty nice bearish reaction off the basis of that, and maybe a big breakout of that support level. So long term, I'm pretty bearish, but we're not quite at those heights yet. If I draw kind of a trend line to see roughly where we can get to, around 150, 152 is where I'm looking for price to get to first before that big sell potentially comes into play. So for now, I am pretty bullish, but I do want to see some lower prices, and 146 roughly or 145 are the two levels I'm looking at. So yeah, with dollar yen looking as bearish as now, this might just be a flag of this bearish impulse, and that could give us the continuation into this low. We can see how price operates. Perhaps there's some longs there. If not, we can monitor price action here and perhaps some longs at those areas. Both are kind of really strong areas of demand. One over here, second over there as well. So that's kind of my take on dollar yen. It's a lightly trending market, and just looking to try and position ourselves well for the longs. That's the way I see it. Okay, I'll take a look at the DXY on the 4 hour and the 15 next. GJ, my guy, love that pair. Recently, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of momentum there. A lot of momentum recently for GJ. UJ and GJ on the 15-minute too. Okay, we can take a look at those guys as well. I mean, you said UJ? Okay, I'll just take a look at UJ since I'm on it now. UJ on the 15. We were actually talking about some buys yesterday off this area, which funny enough, we did see a reaction, but that's just not, it's not great, is it, in terms of a trade opportunity. Yesterday on stream, we were talking about the retest of this high is a nice place for a buy. I mean, sure, price did get there and react pretty well, but unless maybe you dropped like a 5-minute chart, not really something that you want to take an entry off. Such a big reaction, kind of just disproportional to the price action. And of course, I'm pretty sure this was off the back of the CPI as well. So not the best time to be jumping into anything as soon as the news is coming out as well. We did see a slight reaction though. Then we had a slightly deeper reaction. I also discussed this area here too, which was a nice area of demand as well, which of course started that bullish run. We did tap into that area, nice reaction, but of course didn't really get going to see the continuation. And of course, since then, we've actually gone and broken through that low. So I would say on the 15, we are looking pretty bearish here. This could end up being like the first lower high since the high there. And we are starting to print some bearish structure at the moment as well, with this high to that low to that high, and of course new lows. So I would suggest if you could have a pullback, there could be some nice shorts here on the 15, anticipating the next lower high. I quite like resistance in and around this area. There's a lot of rejection here. And of course you kind of got this consolidation there. I think that will be a smart place to short from. So in and around 147.8, 147.7 looks like a smart place for a short in my opinion. Again, don't have to be looking for the home run, but let's say if we can get a pullback, a pushback into the prior low, is always a nice trade. We could go a lot further, but I would suggest that that would be a nice place for a take profit. So yeah, for dollar yen, I like the momentum in this bearish leg, really aggressive, kind of showing us that the bears are really stepping in. We've taken out some structure to our left there as well, which really shows us that this bullish momentum is put to bed. Probably not going to see the continuation of that. I quite like this level here around 147.7, 147.8. If you can come back and retest that along with this area, I think that's a smart place for a short, and hopefully see the next bearish leg back into lows, maybe around 146.6. So on the 15-minute chart for UJ, I do think more downside is looking likely. As for the DXY, I'm keeping a close eye in this area for some buying opportunities. This is more for us for a swing buy. It's not really for a 15-minute chart. But this is still a very strong area of demand and an area which maybe buyers could step in and we could push higher. Again, I was looking for that strength yesterday. That didn't happen. CPI news came in and we're looking pretty weak since then. So we're going to need to see some really aggressive reactions at this area if I'm going to be looking to take any buys. At the moment, not quite seeing that. As for the 50-minute chart, I would suggest sells are the best bet on the 15. Let me move this out of the way. So from a 15-minute perspective, I would say shorts are your best bet. Shorts are your best bet. Perhaps a retest of this area Nice consolidation. Of course, that's where you're seeing momentum come from. It'd be nice to see if we can pull back, retest that area, maybe even focus more of our efforts towards that consolidation there. I think that naturally will be a place to short. What I would say is I wouldn't get too carried away because the market has been falling for quite some time. So I do think shorts are good, but I wouldn't be looking for a crazy move because I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar goes for a slightly bigger pullback, maybe to form another one of these highs here. So I can see a world where that potentially does happen. But if you're looking for like a quick intraday move, I think this is a nice place for it. I think this could be a place where you can hold a bigger swing trade, which could last maybe a few days if you're interested in that. But as for now, DXY looks pretty bearish, especially if you're looking on the 15-minute chart. I'll be focusing on the sell opportunities there. I'm seeing quite a clear bearish trend and quite clear bearish momentum as well. And you've got a nice level for price to pull back into. As for the 4-hour chart, we are coming to areas of demand, which again, another reason why I wouldn't try and push the trade too far, because I can imagine some buyers stepping into the market at these prices. Of course, whether they're successful or not, that's a different question. But I can imagine some buying pressure coming into the market from this area, and that could potentially give us a bit of some choppy behavior. So yeah, on the lower time frames, I'll just focus with the shorts right now. That's where momentum seems to be. So I wouldn't be trying to pick any lows here. That's going to be a very difficult buy to take. But if you can have some healthy pullbacks, continuing those shorts, I think is the best way forward. So yeah, DXY, especially intraday, I'd suggest just focus on shorts. It makes the most sense. We'll take a look at GJ on the 15-minute next. What's up? Follow the trend. Hope you are well. What is up? What is up? Pound CAD sells still in play on a technical basis, head and shoulder on the daily. I think I know what you're on about. We can take a look at that next. Francis, oil, no problem. We can take a look at that as well. So in terms of GJ, GJ on the 15 must just be looking pretty bullish, to be honest. I mean, we are starting to slow down because of course, we are approaching resistance here. So I would be quite cautious about the buys now, based on where we're trading, but especially on the lower time frames, the trend is still very much in play right now. So because of where we're trading, maybe the market does start to move sideways a little bit, but I would still argue that if you can see a convincing break to the upside, the trend still looks pretty healthy. I would still be looking to take some buys. I might not be looking for a crazy big move because, of course, GJ has already seen a pretty big move here, so I wouldn't necessarily bank on another big move. I do think we're approaching closer to the end of this bullish move rather than the start of it, of course. So I wouldn't bank on a crazy run higher, but should I see a convincing break to the upside and a healthy retest, I do think there's a good chance we at least reach back the highs wherever they form, and we'll go from there. So yeah, pound gem for me still looking pretty bullish. Of course, we are trading at some resistance here on like the daily and the weekly chart, so it's not like it's just a 4-hour level. This is a pretty significant level we're trading at. If I expand to the weekly chart, look to our left, you know, last time price was trading around these areas, we had a pretty big sell-off, so it's not really a place to play with. So I like the buys. I will keep it pretty short term, not trying to overstay the welcome, because we could sell off at any point. And don't forget, price could even start breaking through this area and then potentially later in the week start to sell off again. You know, potentially we're just seeing an upper wick on the weekly candle. So I wouldn't get too excited with breakouts until we see some maybe convincing closures on the daily chart. I think that would be a little bit more trustworthy to follow. 15-minute chart breakout, sometimes not always trustworthy, especially on such significant levels. So yeah, pound gen, I would just stay focused with the uptrend. I will be looking for any selling opportunities until I see some break of structure, maybe something like this. Then of course we might be able to catch a continuation of that. So if that was to form, yeah, I can see the logic in terms of the shorts there. But at the moment, the trend is still very much to the upside and still looking pretty healthy. So yeah, I would suggest more upside, and just like what we had here, really, a nice consolidation, a healthy break and retest, Of course, a pretty big move after that, but I'll be looking for a similar pattern really, and at least the push back to the high. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound during the 15. Be careful of the buys because of where we're trading, but the trend is still very strong right now, still showing signs of healthy momentum. So I do think we can still catch a bounce. I just wouldn't bank on a crazy move. That's kind of the only caveat to that. Okay, we'll take a look at pound CAD next as well. Head and shoulder pattern, then oil we'll take a look as well. That's good to hear. Follow the trend. GJ15 has a break of structure. Will trap sellers by the looks. Break the 200 level. Yeah, I do think we can. Of course, because of where we're trading, I can imagine a lot of sellers looking to jump into the market. Is a pretty big level where we're trading, and a pretty big psychological level as well. 200 is a pretty big level. So I can imagine a lot of sellers, a lot of activity around these prices, but the trend still looks pretty strong to me. I'm still waiting for breaks on like the daily chart to really confirm things, of course, with my swing bias. But from an intraday level, if you can see a healthy break of that and a healthy retest as well, because be careful, fake outs could be quite prone in these areas, especially because it's such a significant level. We could see price rally, break the high, and turn around pretty aggressively afterwards. So watch out for that. So if you can see a healthy breakout followed by a healthy retest, then yeah, sure, I do think some longs still look good there. Yes, okay, we can take a look at that as well. Coffee spinner, no problem. Divergent through the daily candle has not closed. Okay, first let me go through pound CAD oil, and then we'll take a look. Yeah, if I've missed out a pair, let me know. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I have. But if I've missed out a pair, just let me know in the chat. But pound CAD, you just mentioned the head and shoulder pattern. I think I know what you're referring to. We've been very, very bullish the past few days. But yeah, possibly something like this. Ooh, something like this. So you got your left shoulder over there, you got your head, and possibly right shoulder. Yeah, I do think that possibly could be the case. I mean, the way I see it really for pound CAD is that we're kind of just ranging, to be honest. We've got equal lows, equal highs. The market's been dancing back and forth between those two levels with some kind of wishy-washy fake outs here and there as well. So it's a very, very sideways market. Of course, if you look at the bigger picture, it's a very bullish market, actually. It's been trending to the upside quite a while. I do think we're approaching a top pretty soon. I do think this is actually going to go for a pretty big reversal, but not seeing signs of that just yet. Almost with the breakout, but quickly erased with that aggressive recovery, and we've been looking pretty bullish since then. So naturally, I do think some selling opportunities could be coming to light. Approaching 1.8699, not really so much because of the head and shoulder, more so just because it's just hitting the upper end of the range, and unless we get a breakout, I do think price is going to respect this level pretty well. So I quite like what I'm seeing. I think this is a nice area for some shorts. I do think we can see some downside from this area, more so 1.87, and that could be a nice place to catch a reaction. I would also mark out the 50% mark of this range. I think that's a sensible place to maybe look to target and secure gains, because it is a very, very choppy range, and sometimes you don't always see the full completion of the range, and 50% is always a healthy place to lock in some gains along the way. But yeah, I would suggest if we can see some healthy rejection around 1.869, 1.87 we'll call it, something like that, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with, and of course, if things go very well, potentially even a swing all the way to the low of the range as well is a real possibility. But yeah, I can see the head and shoulder idea, left head, right shoulder. I'm also kind of focused on the fact that it's just purely in a range, and we'll come into the high end of the range, but the head and shoulder does make sense as well. But yeah, my thinking with this is kind of just, can we sell high as possible? Can we wait for a price to approach the higher end of the range? And provided we reject it well, I think that's a nice place to take some shorts. I would still deem that to be counter trend play though. The trend is still very much bullish. So I would be careful with the shorts. Not trying to overstay on my welcome. But yeah, I can see the idea for pound CAD there on the daily chart. We'll take a look at oil next for Francis. Okay, yeah, play the range, yeah. Yeah, sounds good to me. As long as we see some healthy rejection there, some wicks starting to form, I think that's a nice place for a short. Safe buys on GJ. Anybody can close above 200 previous hour highs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much looking for the breakout there because it's just such a significant level for GJ. I'm kind of waiting to see if, of course, we can get the breakout, but I'll be looking for entries on the retest before getting involved. But yeah, if we can break 200, especially some daily candle closures, I think would be really impactful. Anything below the daily can be kind of quickly erased. We can close above on the hourly chart and close back below pretty quickly. It's not really a significant break, but a daily close, that's pretty significant. Of course, not to say that we can't close back within the daily. You don't get fake outs on the daily, of course you do, but it's a bit more trustworthy than the lower time frames, especially at significant levels, which 200 on GJ is a pretty significant level. So watchful of that. But let's take a look at oil. So oil's looking pretty bearish. There's no way around it. It is looking pretty bearish. We are quite corrective with the momentum. I'm kind of hoping to see a little bit more strength here. We are really kind of choppy on the way down, so I'm kind of hoping that we can pick up some momentum really. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping we can pick up some momentum because otherwise I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity to jump into the shorts unless we kind of show some more strength with this selling pressure. Mainly because I don't really want to be looking to short something that, number one, has already sold off for quite a while. And number two, is starting to show some signs of running out of steam. That's not really the sign to get into some shorts. I want to see healthy momentum, aggressive momentum that shows to me that, okay, the sellers are looking really strong. We've got a good chance to continue likely. So if you can find some pullbacks of that, find the lower high somewhere, I would love to jump into some shorts. At the moment, that's not what we got. Sure, we are breaking through significant support. And I did say if we do break through that, I will put to bed my bullish bias and start looking at the shorts a lot more. And that is definitely the case. But I do want to see more convincing momentum before talking about shorting opportunities. And if that does happen, great. We can talk about some pullbacks, perhaps the retest of that area. And yeah, I'll be expecting a push all the way to the lows here around 55. So I can see a lot more downside for oil, to be honest, with the break of this support level. Just missing that convincing momentum to really tell us that, okay, it's healthy to short. Right now we look quite tired, so I wouldn't be jumping in, at least for any significant move. Lower time frame, sure, there might be some intraday sells there, but I wouldn't be looking to hold anything overnight. Because of how tired we're looking. But yeah, let's see if we can find some more convincing momentum. And then sure, I like the shorts here for oil. We've cleared very, very significant support. Even on the weekly chart, we broke through this area. So that to me is a very strong bearish signal. So yeah, pretty bearish going forward with oil, which should be interesting for CAD as well, because of course CAD and oil are both very very correlated. So I mean, it explains it, to be honest, because CAD's quite weak right now, and so is oil, and they're positive correlated. So we're kind of seeing that come into place. Anyway, let's go through Japanese index. Your concept's able to pass every fund account you try. I mean, my concepts are for profitable trading, so yeah. But again, in terms of funding accounts, you want to tailor yourself to the challenge, because there are different rules, in terms of drawdown targets as well. So it's not a case where you just kind of just jump in and trade anyway. You want to see what your kind of drawdown limits are, which is not necessarily strategy related. It can be trading related more so. So you want to get your kind of data straight before you do jump into a challenge. But the concepts I'm talking about are nothing that I've created myself. These are concepts that have been around long before I've even existed, to be honest. So it's nothing new that I'm teaching on the stream. But the thing you want to concentrate more so is on your kind of own data, because it doesn't really matter what strategy we're trading. We could be trading the exact same strategy, but our metrics could be completely different as well. So you want to focus more on that for your funded challenges that you'll be taking, and tailor yourself to that. Maybe you need to reduce your risk to 0.5%, or maybe you can be a bit more aggressive. It depends where you're kind of at and the results you're getting. But these concepts I've been talking about have been here long before I even knew what trading was. These are nothing that I've invented myself. Anyway, let's take a look. So with this one, we are looking very bullish. Very bullish at the moment. Very bullish at the moment. And Coffee Spinner, what did you say? What's your take on? Because I can see some divergence, and it has not closed. I wouldn't be looking to short it if that's what you're hinting at. I wouldn't be looking to short it. I know we're quite stretched. I know actually, let's stay on the daily chart. I know we're quite stretched. I know we're quite overextended, so a pullback is probably due. And you're definitely right regarding that. But at the same time, because of where we're trading, we don't know necessarily where that high will form. We could form here, or we could form here. And you could be taking a lot of unnecessary losses on the way up before it does. And again, those are two random points. I'm not saying price is going to turn from here or there. I'm basically trying to hint at, we don't know where that top is going to form. So when things are all-time highs, all-time lows, you really want to wait for some signs to say that, okay, we're turning around. I know divergence is technically a sign, but I would wait for a bit more than that before confirming things. It's a good confluence for the trade, but I would wait for more signs of price showing a reversal. At the moment, yeah, sure, looks like we're slowing down. It might give us a bit of a drop here, but we can very much find the buys again and continue higher. So I'll be quite cautious with the sells if that's what you're looking for. I think this market is still very bullish. Yes, it's quite overextended. Yes, it's probably due a pullback. But at the same time, this could go a lot higher before that pullback does occur. So yeah, sure, we are probably due some downside. We are starting to see some wicks here. We might see a drop like this, but we could very much find support very quickly afterwards and be on our way again. So in this type of condition, I'll probably only just focus on buys until I see some signs that, okay, some lower highs are forming. It doesn't have to be that many, but some lower highs are forming, and then I can probably look for a retest of some structure somewhere, and that would be a much safer trade to take rather than trying to short it outright. So yeah, divergence is great. I don't really look at divergence myself, but divergence is great. It's a nice confluence for a trade idea, but again, I wouldn't necessarily bank on that because I need a lot more than that to confirm a top's going to form. But I do get it. Market's quite stretched. A high is likely to form. It's just we could go a lot higher before it does form. Especially in a market like this. If this was FX, I would have a bit more faith. Because FX, we tend to form highs and we can reverse pretty quickly. We don't trend for too long, especially at all-time highs. We can revert quite quickly. With indices, we can always go a lot higher. S&P, NAS, FTSE. FTSE is a bit more choppy, but the DAX, Japanese index, we can go a lot higher. So I'd always be a bit careful with the shorts. But it's a good spot. I think if you can wait for a bit more confirmation, I think there is a trade there to be had. But I wouldn't get caught up in divergence alone. So yeah, in terms of opportunities I'm eyeing up, well, I was in dollar CHF shorts, but I did end up closing that trade early. I'm still in Aussie CHF longs, but that trade is just kind of very sideways at the moment. I mean, there's no sign for me to get out the position, so there's nothing wrong from that regard. So I'm not exiting the position early, but I do want price to stay above support here. Really strong resistance previously, and now price is trading above it. So if you can stay above that, I'm happy with the trade. I'll look to see if I can catch a nice swing. Again, I still do like the opportunity for a push all the way up there. But yeah, I haven't really seen that momentum just yet. We are still quite corrective as well. So I do really want to see price stay above this level. And that's what I'll be looking for the buys. If we do break through, depending how we do that, if it's quite aggressive, I might just close the trade early as well and just look for re-entries later. If we can pick up momentum well, then of course I'll stay in the trade and hopefully start to trail some stops. Pound Aussie, I did trail stops with this one. I had my original stop loss down here underneath the lows, but I did trail it to just underneath the lows here because I don't need to have my stop loss there anymore. We saw the initial momentum, which is where I got into the trade. Price had a bit of a retest and we saw some more upside from then onwards. So there's no point for me to stay in the trade all the way back down here. That'll be an unnecessary loser to take, because at that point, if price was to break through here, well, the momentum which I'm banking on is probably not there anymore. So I'd rather get out the trade and then re-enter if things look good again. So I have trailed the stops to here now, which is probably around 50%, I would say, of my initial risk. My stop loss was here. It's probably just shy of 50%, but around 50%, we can call it 50%. So yeah, going to see how this trade gets going. Had that initial momentum yesterday, which looks really, really good. Price has pulled back since then. Looks like it's testing some structure here. Hopefully we can continue that on the way up, because the plan for the trade is simply to see if I can ride it back to highs, and then we'll go from there. So those are the two positions I'm in at the moment: longs in pound Aussie, longs in Aussie CHF. I was in dollar CHF, but I've exited that position. No other positions which I'm looking to enter just yet either. Kind of backing away from USD at the moment. Not trying to force anything there. Dollar's looking pretty weak right now. Not seeing much opportunities with those pairs at the moment. Yen pairs, don't really have a good read in the yen pairs at the moment, to be honest. Kind of waiting for a bit more development there before I do anything with those. And I mean, there's a few crosses here and there which we can go through, but yeah, at this moment in time, I'm just going to probably sit in those two positions and manage them. Yusuf, oh yeah, I forgot to go through Euro and G on the 15. Okay, we can take a look at those. If I do forget a page, again, just remind me. But yeah, we'll go through those next. Is that Innocent? Hope I'm saying your name correctly. What's up? Hope you well. Took the trade post on the Aussie CHF, going along Aussie CHF. Sometimes it's going in profit and loss. Don't want to use trading stops. Yeah, I mean, in terms of how I'm managing it, my stop loss is still at the original place, but I think there is some logic, to be honest, in terms of trading the stop loss here as well. I don't want to be too aggressive. I do want to give the trade some room, because again, I'm not looking for a small move here. I'm looking for a pretty big swing. And the worst thing to do is, when you're looking for these big trades, is to be too aggressive with the management. You have to give the market some room, especially Aussie CHF. It's a very choppy pair. And you don't want to get too aggressive with things, because you exit trades too early, and then eventually you see the bigger swing happen. You have to give the trade some room. So my stops are still here, but I did say this is a really critical level for me. it's not a make or break of the trade, but I probably will exit the trade if this does break. And then if I see some entries develop later on, I don't mind just getting back in the trade. It's not a situation where if I exit the trade early, that's it. I can always re-enter. So yeah, my stop loss is still here. I'm kind of banking on the fact that price will hold this support level and rally from there. So at the moment for CGF, I don't really see any alarming signs just yet. We're still obeying support. Market structure is still somewhat to the upside, just about. So yeah, I'm still holding the position with the expectation it will continue. If we do see the break, then that's when I pull the plug. But yeah, I'm not trading stops just yet. I kind of want to see a bit of a trend form, something like this, and then I can start to trail behind that. But not yet. Coffee spinner. Yeah, Premier League's due to start this Friday. A Sports guy. Yeah, I'm a pretty big Chelsea fan, to be honest. So I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on the Prem this season. What team do you support, Coffee Spinner? Jason, CFJPY. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well. Let me go through Euro and GU for Yusuf again, which will be awful. So Euro USD looking very, very bullish. So yeah, on a 15-minute perspective, I would be looking to buy. Like I said, I would be looking to sell the DXY in the 15 because that's what all the momentum is right now. Price is really, really aggressive here. A bit of a consolidation, more upside. We've just taken out some highs to our left. I'm pretty bullish here on the 15. I'd be looking to sell. I know we're just coming into some areas of supply, which might give us some downside. But again, when I'm looking at the 15, I'm looking to trade the trend on the 15. The trend on the 15 is very bullish right now. So unless I see the 15-minute do something like this, which, okay, I'll be looking to short, but I'm not seeing any signs of that happening just yet. So I like the looks of this area, which kind of responds quite well to what the DXY is doing as well. If I hop over there, you can see I've marked out the same kind of area, which is this area here. I've just focused it a bit more into that range, which we can do as well with Euro. I think this is a tidy place for a long, and hopefully see some upside off the back of that. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Euro. A lot of upside. I do expect to see price continue higher, but I would wait for a healthy pullback and then hopefully a continuation off the back of that. But yeah, the main thing as well with Euro is I wouldn't look for any big moves. I mean, if USD is going to be weak, of course, we could see a lot more upside, but we are still trading in a big area of supply, and things could get messy there. So that's the big thing I'd watch out for. But in terms of intraday buys, if you're looking to buy it for like a session or maybe a day, I think that's a sensible place to keep an eye on and take some entries. Man United all the way. Must be a tough last season for you. But to be fair, Man United's decent. Man United's looking decent. I'm not sure about Amram, but made some good signings. To be fair, I'm excited to see what Man United do this season. I'm excited to see what they do. I actually have no expectations for them. In terms of pound USD, so this one's arguably, well, it's not arguably, this one is more bullish than Euro. So I'm pretty bullish on pound. Not even on the 15, but even on the 4-hour chart. I do think on a 4-hour chart, we're probably likely to break through the high here. The reason I say that is because this looks like a big V-shaped pattern to me. And again, if you haven't, well, if you've been watching the streams for a while, you know how fondly I speak of V-shaped patterns. Very, very powerful patterns. I think they're probably my favorite chart pattern, to be honest, because they work pretty well. Probably the most successful pattern that I trade in terms of how often it does play out. And this looks like a big V-shaped pattern to me, which I would expect a correction and then a continuation of. So he's likely to continue to rally. And I do think we're likely to break structure as well. This was our lower high, which gave us this low. I do think price is likely to take out that resistance there as well. So on a 15-minute perspective, I'll just be looking to buy, to be honest. And it's pretty much the same situation as Euro USD. You got a lovely range over here, which would be nice for a pullback into. If we could actually see that pullback, because we're looking really bullish right now. You got a range there as well, which if we have a slightly deeper pullback, maybe the market focuses a bit more in this area. But I would also consider the high there as well. We could just retest the high and rally off the back of that. But yeah, on the 15 for pounds, very, very bullish stuff. You're just kind of waiting for a pullback, really. And if that can happen, that would be great. And I would expect more upside from there too. So euro and pound both look good for buys. I would argue pound probably has the best structure, to be honest. And it has a bit of a clearer path. So I like what pound USD is doing, but they both look pretty good, especially in a 50-minute time frame. So if we can find some pullbacks, yeah, I think some buys look really good for both of them. USD looks pretty weak right now. Looks like dollar can probably still see some more downside, at least on an intraday basis. I think we can. So yeah, I do think more downside makes a lot of sense. CHFJPY will take a look at next for Jason. Last I was interested in Premier League or football in general. I was a Man United fan. After they fell off, I lost interest. Wow, see what Man United does to people. It makes them lose interest in this whole sport. My goodness. Man United fans, a lot of Man United fans on the stream then. You guys are, to be fair, you guys will make good traders, because if you can stomach the season Man United had last season and still stay positive, that's the type of mentality and emotional control you do need in trading as well. So big kudos to you guys. Arizona EU you marked for potential sell as per the dollar. What do you think? Yeah, it's hopeful at this point right now. I'm not gonna lie, LFTJ, because we need a lot to happen if this is gonna sell off here. This is the level I marked in euro, and I've marked on a similar level on the DXY as well, which is this zone here too. So the DXY is coming into the zone, euro is going into that zone. And in another world, price reacts from here and we see a massive sell-off and perhaps a lower high form, and same thing with the DXY. So yes, we're coming into an area which we can see a lower high, but how price reacts is the most important thing. You can mark up a gazillion different levels, but how price reacts with a level is really going to make or break it. At the moment, we're looking pretty bullish. Things can turn around, but I do need to see some really aggressive reactions here, and I need to see some wicks forming, bearish momentum coming into play, and that's to even get me considering looking to short euro again. So we're in a great place where a lot of momentum came from. This could be an area which we do fall over from, so I'm not ruling that out. Euro can definitely fall from here, but price action is going to be king here. So how we respect this level, same with the DXY, how the DXY respects this area here will kind of make or break the opportunity. At the moment, we just have a lot of bearish momentum. The funny thing about trading, things can change very quickly. So right now we're looking pretty bearish. This time tomorrow, maybe we're seeing a big bullish reaction. So I'm not going to rule it out, but I need to see some really strong evidence of rejection here and some strength coming back into the market. If I can see that, sure, I think the buys are back for the dollar and the shorts could be on for euro. But until then, I'm kind of just keeping an eye out, really. Not looking to jump in just yet. Need a lot more evidence before looking to sell. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with euro. Can't compete with Chelsea 100%. Yeah, I know. It is a bit ridiculous, I'm not going to lie. Chelsea squad size. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. I'm a big Man United fan. This season will be different. We are back. Which team do you support? Yeah, I support Chelsea. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like the optimism. I like the optimism. I do like the players in Man United. I do like the players, but I'm not sold on Amram. I'm not sold on him. Just after what he did last season was just too crazy. It was just too crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I like the players, but I'm not sure about the manager. Again, I could get proven wrong here. I'm not sure about him. Support Man United having a good setup, but then it all goes haywire. That is actually a good way to summarize it. I'm not gonna lie, because it is. Man United is a great setup, but then it just went completely wrong. Hopefully the next setup it plays out next season. Euro Yen Blessing, sure thing. We'll take a look. Let me go for CHF-JPY. Almost forgot. So CHF-JPY, a lot of sideways movement here. Again, I don't really have a good read in the yen pairs at the moment. I've been looking at sells for them, didn't really play out. I've looked at the yen basket. Again, mixed feelings from that, to be honest. So personally, from the yen pairs, I'm kind of taking a back seat. Again, not every time I'll jump on the market and kind of get a good read of what the markets are doing. Sometimes I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't really have a confident play right now, and that's kind of what I have for a few of the yen pairs. And Swiss yen is included in that. Now, of course, in terms of the trend, that's very much, obvious. The spot's a very bullish trend. Of course, these are all-time highs, so the market is as bullish as ever at the moment. I do think we're still due a deeper pullback. We've seen, 2 bearish candles here. I do think the market is due a pretty big correction, to be honest, but not really seeing signs of that happening just yet. If I drop to the daily chart, we had a bit of a consolidation here. We broke out of that, and now we're kind of testing support here, which perhaps we can continue from, but I probably would wait for this support level to break first, because the way I see it, this is just another range, to be honest. So if I can get some convincing momentum like this, okay, at that point, we do have an established trend here. We've got equal highs here, price broke down, created a new low, lower high, lower low. If price can break to the downside there as well, then we've got an established trend. I'll be looking for pullbacks, a lower high, and the pullback I just mentioned on the higher time frames could be well underway. So I like the shorts from that perspective. If we can see a bit more of an established trend, of course we don't have that quite yet. We are still quite sideways. So with Swiss yen, I did say yesterday as well that if we do see a convincing break to the upside here, then perhaps we are just going to continue back to highs and maybe just continue the overall trend. I think that's probably the logical play. If I look at the yen basket at the moment as well, it's still looking pretty bearish to me. Could probably still see a bit more downside. So that's probably the likely play with Swiss yen. The bearish move I just mentioned, that's kind of what I want to happen, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bank on that happening. At this point, with yen still being weak, I would say that we've probably got something like that on the card. So yeah, if we can start to see a bit more of a bullish trend, especially intraday, I think there could be some nice buys back into resistance, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Swiss yen. In terms of Euro yen, let's take a look at Euro yen. So Euro yen, I actually like what's going on with Euro yen. Euro yen I can get a good read on. Out of all the yen pairs, I'll say dollar yen and Euro yen, I quite like what I'm looking at. And pound yen, I would say. If you can break 200, I think we've probably got a nice clean up trend there for pound yen as well. But the way I see with Euro yen, we've had massive resistance. Let's go to the daily chart. Massive resistance around, 166? Yeah, 166, we cleared that. So the next big target for Euro yen is simply a push to 175. I do expect us to eventually get there. The way I see it, we've had a very impressive bullish run. This is kind of our pullback, and now price is probably likely to continue back to the highs since then. Now, we've also cleared resistance here as well, which for me is quite significant, because we were looking quite corrective, and if we did sell off, we probably would have continued and maybe seen new lows past that point as well. But the fact is, we've broken through the high, and at this point in time, I'm now looking for us to return back to these highs and possibly the highs in the weekly chart we just mentioned as well. So Euro Yen, it looks like a bullish trend is starting to pick up play. And if that's the case, I like the buys intraday. I probably would drop to like an hourly chart, maybe in a 30-minute chart to really trade this. And there could be some nice buys in the break and retest of that level, with the expectation of a push back to the highs here and then maybe 175 as well. So Euro Yen, I quite like what I'm seeing. We're looking pretty bullish here. I do think there's more upside to be had, especially with the break of 172.3 now. I do think Euro Yen can keep pushing. So I kind of look at Swiss Yen and Euro Yen in the same light. They look like uptrends which are kind of waiting to really get underway. Euro Yen looks a little bit more convincing because it's just broken through resistance, but I do expect more upside here. Let me know what you're looking at as well for Euro Yen as well. Annie, I'm doing good. Thank you. Hope you're well. GG had a long rally. Yes. Do you think it will give a pullback on the daily before it starts again after 200 level? Yes. I mean, are you saying if price can break through the level, will it pull back afterwards? I mean, I'd hope so. But of course, sometimes the markets have a mind of their own. I mean, if you look at Euro Yen, I was expecting a pullback for that guy, but it just never happened. We broke through the high here. It was miniature pullbacks, but nothing meaningful. Even this was quite small regarding how big that bullish move was. But yeah, if we do break 200, I do expect a pullback. If you're talking about a pullback beforehand, as in before we break 200, that could be the case as well. But I would wait for some more evidence that we are respecting this level well. So if I could take this level across. So I'd wait for some more wicks to form. Maybe as to consolidate a little bit longer and see a strong close. That could be something I could be looking at, and that could maybe start a bit of a pullback. But I do expect pound yen to later go and break for 200. So I'm pretty bullish on GJ. I do think more upside is likely past 200, and that's kind of what I'm banking on for some buying opportunities really, and hopefully some pullbacks afterwards and some buys along the way. So I'm pretty bullish on GJ. If we can break 200, I think things look really good. Yes, there might be some sells beforehand. We've respected this pretty well, so there could be some shorts and a pullback if that's what you're mentioning. But in terms of the pullbacks of what I'm interested in is very much waiting for 200 to break, then looking for the pullbacks afterwards. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on GJ. I like what I'm seeing. We could basically say this would be Ruben's first season and his transfers is way better than the rest. True. Yeah, no, true. Man United's attack last season was criminal at times, I'm not going to lie. It was criminal, so he's working with a better bunch of players, 100%. Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on Amram, to be honest. Maybe his attack was so bad in terms of the personnel, it made Amram's kind of tactics and coaching look worse than it is. I mean, we'll probably get the answer to that this season. So yeah, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but yeah, I think Man United still got a lot of work to do, to be honest. But I do have higher hopes for them. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, 100%. Especially first game against Arsenal as well. That should be interesting. Okay, let me have a quick look at some of the indices. I haven't actually looked at them yet. Oh, okay, they're looking very bullish. NAS is flying. S&P, I'd imagine, is doing the same thing as well. Yeah. So, indices, how's the DAX doing? Okay, the DAX performed pretty well, respected support pretty well there. Looks like that correction is well underway. Might be seeing a continuation now back to highs. Yeah, so the indices are looking pretty bullish. US 30, yeah, US 30 is looking pretty good as well. Respected support there. It looks like we're underway. So I'd only be looking at buys here for the indices. I do think I mean, I do think a bigger corrections is still on the cards. I know we had that big drop past couple of weeks, but I think would you even a bigger one? Maybe not something as big as this, but maybe something like this in the near future. I do expect that to happen, but that could be like a week or two in the future, so I wouldn't be too concerned with that. As of right now, especially if you're an intraday trader, I'll just be looking at pullbacks on the indices and just buying the dips really. But at the same time, not trying to overstay my welcome. If I can catch a pullback and trade it back to the high, I'll be happy to lock in most of the gains there. Of course, you can trail some winners. You never know how far it might go. But at the same time, I'll look to try and pay myself when I get the opportunity to do so, because I would expect pullbacks to happen pretty frequently here. So yeah, indices as a whole looking very bullish. I do think more upside is to be had here. Pretty much for all the major indices, to be honest, they're all looking very bullish. USD is looking pretty weak as well, which should be an aid to them to push higher. How is BTC looking? Yeah, BTC looks like it's on its way up as well. Broke out of this channel. So it looks like we're seeing indices up, crypto up, gold is up to a degree. Yeah, ish. Silver's up though. Silver's looking pretty bullish. So all those kind of dollar correlated markets are up. So you got indices up, crypto up. Of course, USD's down. Of course, a lot of these FX currencies are up. Pound, Euro, Aussie. Maybe not CAD, but all those markets are up. So it looks like across the board, dollar's pretty weak here. Dollar's pretty weak. And I'm not really seeing signs of that changing just yet. Ether, okay, we can take a look at ETH. Especially when we get rate cuts in September, indices will blow off. Yeah, that's true. That could be what we're kind of waiting for. That could be what we're waiting for. So maybe August we kind of just chug away to the upside. I mean, it's only coming up to the middle of August now. But yeah, we might kind of just continue in this kind of bullish climate for now. ETH. Oh my word. Is this the Ethereum? Wow, wow, wow. I had no idea Ethereum was doing this, by the way. No way. Ethereum's about to break all-time highs. I could shed a tear right now. Since 2021, we've been nowhere near all-time highs. Now it's 2025, almost 4 years later, because it was November 2021. We're about to take all-time highs. Wow, that is brilliant stuff. I'm not gonna lie. That is brilliant stuff, and that kind of is quite a big deal, to be honest, because BTC's been making all-time highs like 4 or 5 times since 2021. Ethereum hasn't done it once. Now it looks like it's about to. So yeah, Ethereum's looking great, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like we could be in our next bullish cycle, which could last maybe a month or two, to be honest, before maybe we start to do something else again. But it looks like price is about to smash into 5K. That is great stuff. So yeah, in terms of Ethereum, I mean, again, it's difficult when cryptocurrencies are in their bullish climate, because it's sort of a situation where you want to be in the trade before things get carried away, because sometimes you don't really see much of a pullback. Because like if this was an FX pair, I'd be looking at something like this, and there would be a pretty good chance we could see that happen. Crypto, Ethereum, BTC, these guys sometimes are quite unforgiving, and when they get going, they get going. Especially when they're kind of in that exponential kind of price action. So yeah, I mean, that would be nice for a buy, but it's a toss of a coin if we get there. Probably even not quite a toss of a coin. probably say the odds are less than that because toss a coin is 50-50. I'd probably say it's less than 50-50. So yeah, I would expect new highs. We've got 5K, which is of course the next big psychological level. I would say that would be a big draw on price. But yeah, very bullish, more upside to be had, to be honest. But Ethereum is looking really bullish. How's XRP doing? XRP not as good, but still seeing some bullish behavior. We did kind of fail at highs there, which was a little bit not great. We are still trading against these highs to our left. So there's a lot of resistance here. But price action is still looking bullish. No overall, no kind of significant selling pressure as well. So I would suggest more upside is likely with this one too. How was XLM doing? XLM looks pretty good as well. Nice momentum. Pretty corrective bearish move. I would suggest more upside as well. Probably push back to high. So it could be crypto season. It could be crypto season. ETH is going crazy. Yeah, Danny, it is going very crazy. I actually had no idea there. I probably haven't looked at Ethereum for about a week and a half, maybe. When's the last time I looked at Ethereum? I probably looked at Ethereum here last, maybe. Because I had no idea price was doing that. No idea. I knew BTC had that initial boom, but I probably just didn't look at Ethereum when that happened. I know we had BTC do this, so I was aware of that. But even then, Ethereum would have been breaking out. So yeah, that was quite surprising, but I like what I'm seeing. It looks like we have a little bit of a crypto season right now. Annie, yes, I short Solana but booked a small profit at 177. I'm glad I did book. Now it's trading at 200. Wow, is Solana being bullish as well? Whoa, look at that. Very bullish. So we got a small reaction there. So that's probably what you traded and booked some profits from. Then, of course, yesterday's candle, very bullish, and today's candle, very bullish. I still do like that level for resistance, though. But let's see how price reacts with it. But, yeah, I mean, that's why I'm a big fan of actively managing your trades. I used to be quite stubborn in terms of, okay, if I take a position, I'm going to see out to completion. So either it goes and hits my take profit or it comes and hits my stop loss. I used to trade like that, but after reviewing trades and just becoming a bit more experienced, actively managing your trades is a lot better. But the caveat to that is that you have to be trustworthy in decision making, and you have to be able to kind of put your emotions to one side, because of course if you're going to actively manage positions but you're just going to be an emotional wreck, of course you're going to make a lot of bad decisions. But if you can just stay true to your price action and follow that, it will help you get out of losers quicker and potentially stay in winners longer as well. Because with each candle presents new information that you didn't already have when you did enter the market. Let's say if you took some shorts here on the break of the trend line, momentum's looking really good. So that's the information you have now. But then as more candles print, you get more information. You know, potentially we could have seen this happen. If that happened, you'd be like, okay, momentum's very bearish. Let's stay in this trade. Momentum looks pretty good. Maybe I can look to book in some partials here, whatnot, however you want to manage it. But momentum didn't continue. You know, there's a slight continuation, start to stall, and then you had a very aggressive close there. That would be a sign to me that says, okay, maybe it's time to exit this trade because momentum that I was originally banking on is not here anymore. We're looking quite bullish. And of course, then you get the strong break and prices completely breaking through that resistance. So that's why I'm a big fan of actively managing positions, because you get more information as more candlesticks print that you didn't have before. You know, you might have analyzed this chart and said, okay, I'm expecting price to get here. Well, after this candle, I wouldn't be as confident with that move anymore. I'd rather get out of that trade and then re-enter if I'm seeing more information that says, okay, price is now likely to make that move again. But again, easier said than done, because if you are quite emotional, you get out trades for silly reasons, and that can really skew up your results, to be honest. So if you're probably more in the beginning phase, I probably would suggest a bit more of like a rigid management approach. But once you get a bit of experience and a bit of confidence, I think actively managing your trades is actually the best way forward. No, I don't trade crypto. I have dabbled with BTC for fun, but nothing serious. I probably will look to trade crypto though in the future. BTC, the way I see it, is moving like an FX pair almost. It does have its kind of weird exponential breakouts, but from a trading perspective, if I can catch that well, that can be a very fruitful move. But yeah, with the BTC becoming more liquid, it is moving quite reasonable, and almost like an FX pair, almost. So yeah, I can definitely see myself trading some of the bigger cryptocurrencies. Maybe the smaller ones I leave alone for the foreseeable future, but BTC, ETH, I can see myself trading those. But actively managing trades, how do you deal with emotions? Yeah, good question. Again, that's just kind of where experience and confidence comes into play, because you only become emotional in trading when you're not confident. You know, that's where the emotions come in, because if you're not confident with your trading, not confident with your ability, not confident with your strategy, that's when you become emotional. If you're very confident with all those things I just mentioned, not necessarily confident that your trade's going to play out or that every trade you're going to take is a winner, that's something completely different and won't help you in the long term. But just confident that your strategy over time will make you profit, confident that you'll make the right decision, not all the time, but on average. If you have that natural confidence to you, then the emotions you'll likely feel would just be very, very little. Like if I close a trade early, sure, you do have that little chat in your brain that says, okay, maybe don't close the trade, maybe it's going to turn around. You probably always get that. But if you if you trade the chart and you put the chart first, you can make confident decisions that, okay, maybe this trade's probably not going to play out anymore, let me get out early. Or maybe this trade is likely to continue further, let me just try and see if I can stay in. So in terms of emotions, there's nothing I can tell you that would just switch off emotions. That's a very personal kind of battle you'll have. But the remedy to having less emotions is just confidence in your decision making, and confidence in your strategy. That's really what it does rely upon. And a big part of that is experience as well. As you trade more, take more trades, take more wins, take more losses, review your trades well. If you do that repeatedly over time, you naturally will gain confidence, you naturally will gain experience, and you'll be able to see some previous kind of previous situations happen that, okay, if I closed my trade early, I would have saved X amount of X amount of pips. So once you learn from those trades in the past, you can take that into the future, and when you see something of that nature happen again, you know to close early. Of course, it's not always as black and white as that, but that's what's going to help add to your game. So yeah, I wish I could tell you something that would just get rid of emotions, but it's not as simple as that. I always think the best way to get rid of emotions is just being confident in something. And that goes for pretty much every endeavor in life, really. You're going to be quite emotional with everything unless you kind of got a natural kind of confidence with whatever you're doing. And again, the best way to build confidence is the best way to build confidence is to practice, go over trades, and of course, making mistakes and learn from them as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of actively managing. It's only something I've been doing probably for the past couple of years. Before that, I was quite rigid in terms of taking partials here, trading stops here, and just kind of not really paying attention to the price, just more so what the original plan of the trade was, and then sticking to that, which is nothing wrong with that. But I think just in terms of kind of optimally managing your strategy, paying attention to what the market's giving you is quite important as well. Because with each candlestick provides more information, which you didn't have before. And that could alter your decision. Potentially, like I said, staying in trade for longer or closing out early. Like, for example, pound Aussie here. With this trade I'm in at the moment, I entered the trade there and I had my stop loss originally over here. And because now price has continued in my favor, I've now moved my stop loss here. So as price has given me more information, as I've seen this candle in my favor, that's allowed me to trail my stops underneath structure. If I still have my stops here, which I could have done, doesn't really make much sense, because now you've seen all this continuation in your favor, all this momentum in your favor. Doesn't make much sense to stay in the trade all the way down here with the hopes that price will still continue in your favor. So I'll trail my stop loss to actively manage the position, because I don't want to be in the trade anymore if price is going to break through this area. I'd rather get out of the trade and find a new entry if price is still going to go in my desired direction. And I'll continue to do that as price continues in my favor. And of course, let's say price gets here as well, gets to my my target for the trade. I don't have an electronic target, but I will look to take positions off. But let's say price gets here and sees a massive close above this level. Maybe some news happens at the time or whatever, and we see a big close above that level. Well, I probably will lock in gains because that was my original target, but I will leave positions to run, because at that point, well, it looks like price is breaking out that range. Potentially price could go further. Maybe it's going to push back to the highs here. The price action I'm seeing shows that there's a strong likelihood for us to continue further. Well, at that point, I will leave positions to run. If, of course, price gets here and sees a massive rejection, maybe a big wick, well, I'll call it a day and close all my positions. So that's kind of looking at what price is giving me, and then being active to what price is giving us, because we could see price do either of those things, and either of those things will lead me to make different decisions. But a big part of trading is just kind of learning on the job, experience. A lot of concepts are not necessarily hard to learn, especially the concepts that I trade with. But then to actively deploy them in the market well, that can take some time. And thinking on your feet as well. And one of the benefits of trading on the higher time frames is that you get a bit more time to think. Because when I'm actively managing trades, especially on a 4-hour time frame, it takes 4 hours for a single candle to close. So there's a lot of time there to think about, even for just one candle. For one day, I get 6 4-hour candles. So there's not a lot of change within one day, most likely. But on like a 5-minute chart, you got 5 minutes to think about for one candle. Of course, a 1-minute chart, 1 minute to think for one candle. So you have to be quite proactive and quite confident with your decision making at the time. This allows me time to think, change my mind even if that's the case. And no problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. But yeah, as for my personal trading, I don't really have any pairs which I'm looking to take just yet. Any trades I'm looking to take this year. Of course, I've got the 2 positions open. But as I said, USD, I'm kind of just leaving to one side for now. Again, I'm not ruling out dollar strength, but I wouldn't say it's likely at the moment. So I'm going to have to wait for, again, more information from the candles to show me where the likely move will be next. If we will put a higher low here, or will we continue to break structure? That's something I'm going to keep a close eye on. And of course, that will play a big role in terms of other USD pairs. If euro is going to form a top here, pound, I'm not convinced at all. I think pound USD is going to continue higher. And that kind of makes me expect other USD pairs to continue higher as well. Aussie dollar, this one's breaking back within the range, so not quite. Yeah, I'm not convinced of a big sell here, so I'm not looking to take any shorts. Same with New Zealand dollar as well. And dollar CAD's been quite choppy too. CAD's quite strong at the moment in time, so that's why it hasn't dropped as much. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do spill over with how USD's been quite weak. So that's why I would be quite watchful over that. And for the yen pairs, I don't really have any yen pairs which I'm looking to jump in just yet. As I said previously, I like pound yen on the breakout. But again, the breakout, not quite here yet. I mean, I say that, but it looks like pound is trying to break out there. Hopefully that can continue. I'm also waiting for a daily candle to close to really confirm the breakout. So if the 4-hour candle does close above, I won't get too excited, but it is good to see that. So yeah, and the rest of the yen pairs, they don't really have a good read at the moment. Not really feel too confident about the bias. So because of that, I'll stay away. Danny, that's why I asked why you prefer swing over scalping, more time to think, you say. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the positives. That is definitely one of the positives. A lot more time to think as well, which is definitely a benefit, especially when you got capital on the line. It does help to think, because imagine you have a decent sized trade on, and it's on the 1 minute chart. You literally got 1 minute before a new candle does print. And that gives you kind of a limited amount of time to think as well. And again, trading is very, very much personal. If you want more time to think, you can have more time to think. You can even trade on the daily chart if you want. You've got a whole day to wait before a new candle does form. So you can have an infinite amount of time as much as you want. So yeah, one of the benefits of swing trading is that you get a bit more time, and allows you to kind of calm things down and not be so emotional as well. I could go take a breather for an hour, come back, and still I've got another 3 hours left before a 4-hour candle does print. That is definitely a benefit, I'm not going to lie. But then, of course, some people do benefit on the lower time frames. Some people can think pretty fast on their feet and be pretty confident with their decisions as well. And if you're one of those, you probably could thrive quite well in the lower time frames. Annie, when it comes to profit and challenge, which one would you prefer? 2% risk per trade, 1-to-1, and take 5 trades on the higher time frame, or 0.5 risk per trade, 1-to-2, take 10 to trade trades on the lower time frame? Good question, Annie. Good question. I'll probably say, in terms of just purely just, for me, I'd rather the 0.5% risk 10 to 20 trades, because my understanding of trading is that I'm not banking on a few trades to play out. I'm banking on my strategy over time playing out. So I'm always with the volume game. 1 trade, 2 trades, 3 trades, 5 trades, all very trivial. 20 trades, 30 trades, 50 trades, even if you have a slight edge, over 50 trades, you'll start to see the edge play out. So I can be very confident that, okay, over a span of time, over a bunch of trades, my edge will start to show. So I'm very confident in that. Am I confident my next 5 trades are going to play out? Yeah, maybe. I could hit potentially 5 winners. I could potentially hit 5 losers as well. So I like the volume play. I like the more trades, because I'm more confident that my strategy will play out. But again, it depends. If you're going for the fast and furious method, if you want to pass quickly and advance to the next stage quickly, then I can see the logic in choosing the first option. But I can see a world where I could potentially win 5 trades or lose 5 trades. So I wouldn't bank on that. But the 10 to 20, I'll be pretty confident that I'll pass that. So I guess it just depends how aggressive you want to be. But in terms of kind of just going for the more professional kind of approach, I'd say the latter one is where it's at. Because I wouldn't be emotional either. I would be taking trades. There's not much risk on the line. I'll be happy to take that. 5 to 10 trades, I want to be very, very patient with my positions there because each trade's going to matter. But like I said, if you want to be aggressive and pass quickly, and obviously the first strategy is where it's going to be at. The second approach is definitely going to take you a lot more time. But I think you just be a lot calmer when trading. You'll be a lot more composed. Not so, okay, I took a loss. Now I've got 4 bullets in the chamber left. You'll be a lot more calm, and you can just focus on trading. And I think that's when you'll probably be at your best. That's when I'm at my best. When I'm not so concerned about the profit and loss of my next position. I'm more concerned just taking a good trade, then another good trade, then another good trade. And trading's a bit more of like a flow. I passed with the 10 to 20 trades, both phases, nice. Passed phase 1 1 week and phase 2 in 1 day, nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it can be fast as well if things go very well. But yeah, I think that the 10 to 20 is a more safer approach. So I would definitely prefer that one. But yeah, I'll prefer that. And again, a 1-to-1, you're not asking for a lot as well, but that's what I would rather do. And risk was 0.5, yeah, exactly. 0.5 is 0.5 is not aggressive. It's definitely on the conservative side of things. I mean, I've seen people drop risk even to like 0.2, which is very conservative. Again, especially with risk, there's no right or wrong answer as well. I think there's only just aggressive and conservative. People can have very aggressive risks, taking 3-4% risk on a trade. I wouldn't say that's necessarily wrong. I would just say it's very, very aggressive. And like I said, with 0.2% risk, I wouldn't say that's wrong either. It's just very conservative. Maybe you have a strategy that has a lower win rate, but very high risk to reward. So you want to be careful with your drawdown. So it does make sense having 0.2% risk. And maybe psychologically, having a low risk makes you trade better as well. So there's pros to that as well. But yeah, I'd rather always give myself some buffer room, some wiggle room to trade. I think when you're trading with a bit more aggression, that's where mistakes happen. You don't hear very many stories of trading go very wrong for people who are very conservative and taking minimal risk. I mean, sure, things can go wrong, but the chance of it is very slim. All the stories you hear of people going bust trading and things happening and things going very, very wrong, it's almost always that they were too aggressive, almost always. So naturally speaking, if you can just be on the slightly more conservative side of things, it should help you. Okay guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in for the stream. I will be live again tomorrow as always. So if you have enjoyed the stream guys, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you do want to support the channel more, I have launched memberships just yesterday actually, which I'll be doing exclusive videos for members, posts as well. So if you do want to support the channel some more, you can check it out. There's some loyalty badges as well. As always, I will be live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So you will see me tomorrow. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Share it with your friends, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future, because of course you will be notified. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in to this stream. Have a great day, a good, great day. Does that make sense? Probably not, but have a good, great day, guys. And I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zenthrick's AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrick's AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrick. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.